You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. We have seen all kinds of injustice done to R. Kelly since the beginning of his legal ordeals as early as the year 2003. But the climax started back in 2019 when he was arrested while walking his dog outside the Trump Towers, and taken in on charges that have never been related to any of the witness testimonies. R. Kelly was charged with RICO and Mann Act violation together with forced labor charges in New York, all completely alien to his case and with no convincing evidence to back them up. Until today we do not understand why Brooklyn federal judge Ann Donnelly would issue a guilty verdict for alleged RICO violation which was never backed up with the required evidence. And as though that was not enough, she went on to apply the racist Mann Act that was introduced as early as 1910 to be used to unconstitutionally lock up black heavyweight champion Jack Johnson over his interracial sexual preferences. The forced labor allegations, if studied in detail, will leave anyone laughing at just how sentimental our judges can become when dealing with high-profile black defendants like R. Kelly. The climax of the unfairness, however, was at the event that saw Judge Ann Donnelly ignore the text message evidence that could have broken the case wide open to result in a different verdict, and instead preferred to carry on and unfairly convict the R&B King. This revelation alone offered enough reason for the New York and Chicago courts to rethink through the charges that had been imposed on the R&B King, and these should have been immediately withdrawn if served justice was the primary aim of taking this matter to trial. But because it was never about justice, and because it was always about taking down the R&B King and destroying his career, this important game-changing evidence was pushed to the side and completely ignored like it meant nothing. But why is this text message evidence very important for R. Kelly's defense? According to reports, it turns out Azriel Clary's mother Alice Clary did send text messages to R. Kelly pretending to be her own daughter, and these were intended to lead him into believing that Azriel was actually an adult enough to engage in such mature talk as she did engage in, and to lead him into wanting to sleep with her. Reports further suggest that Azriel Clary's mother also engaged in text conversations with her daughter, coaching her on how to seduce R. Kelly, and training her on how she should sit on his lap and sing for him pretending to be 18. The messages also reveal Alice Clary celebrating and stating how excited she was her son-in-law was going to be older than her. For someone who in her media interviews and during her Surviving R. Kelly act did suggest R. Kelly lured their daughter into his circle and held her against her will, this new discovery is rather mind-boggling. Remember that apart from the infamous RICO and Mann Act charges, it was largely alleged both in New York and in Chicago that R. Kelly enticed and coerced underage girls to be with him. But unless Alice Clary's name is R. Kelly, I do not see anyone apart from her enticing or coercing her own daughter into becoming R. Kelly's girlfriend with her hopes for financial and material gain. The arrival of the text message evidence therefore should have seen all enticement and coercion charges against R. Kelly dismissed. It's clear R. Kelly was never out there in search for underage girls to be with, but rather their parents were in search for him to be with their daughters. Meanwhile, the idea of baptizing R. Kelly the predator he has never been just doesn't apply with this new discovery. A predator is the one who goes out luring women and not the other way around. Women were literally forced his way and their parents lied they were 18. How was R. Kelly supposed to tell that Azriel was left with a few more months to turn 18, especially if her own mother supported her being with him and asked her to lie about her age? To make matters even more complicated for Robert, she possessed an ID that showed her age as 18, one which she presented to the police outside the Dolphin Hotel. The Chicago enticement and coercion charges also should have been immediately thrown out when the text message evidence became public. Clearly, R. Kelly did not need to entice anyone to be with him. Looking at the case dynamics, it's all the other way round. R. Kelly is way too big and popular a celebrity to need to entice women to be with him, and the content of the text exchanges with one of the accuser's parents proves this. The government's biggest worry is the likelihood that the Supreme Court will review and consider this long-ignored text message evidence, which may see R. Kelly cleared of most of the accusations that were made and the corresponding charges. It's in fact unfair that there is existent known evidence which is this relevant to the case against R. Kelly, but the Department of Justice has since looked on and adamantly refused to apply it. Meanwhile, the text message evidence is not the only important information that was left out when convicting R. Kelly. We all know of the FBI report which revealed that the BOP together with blogger Tasha K did connive with government in an act of witness tampering, when they leaked R. Kelly's restricted prison communications to Azriel Clary and the general public, causing her to flip on him and join the government camp in taking him down. Even though the Brooklyn federal judge knew about this and its illegality, she again chose to ignore and proceed to convict the R&B king like his rights to privacy had not been violated. This alone was enough to cause the dismissal of the entire New York case because the law cannot be broken while trying to convict a defendant. This tantamounts to judicial misconduct and should not lead to a conviction. It was rather shocking the way the New York judge preferred to condone such judicial misconduct, which breaks down the very fiber of what is necessary for a functional judicial system. Citizens have to believe that their judges are fair and impartial, and the moment this trust is lost, the judiciary cannot exist. In R. Kelly's case, however, judicial misconduct looms all over, and it is evident that the judges were likely carried away by the sentiment surrounding the case. We saw the judges inventing their own improper remedies for the cases and a total breakdown of the law, and these should call for either a retrial or a review of the judges' decisions. Former U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt did say that just like no man is above the law, no man is below it. Nor do we ask any man's permission when we ask him to obey it. Obedience to the law is demanded as a right and not as a favor, and therefore the judges who administer justice in our country must be seen as ethical and subject to meaningful correction. When it comes to the case against R. Kelly, though, the judges seemingly acted with impunity as though to suggest they are above the law. By ignoring the reflags in the text evidence and more, and when they allowed the government to break the law while trying to prosecute him, they got involved in serious judicial misconduct which will not be ignored by the Supreme Court judges. According to Marvelly's boss, in this country to be black and successful is enough for you to be regarded a threat. You therefore don't want to end up in any courtroom on trial for anything the judges can easily flip around on you. This is what happened to R. Kelly. His success alone made him a threat, and being black, he could not survive the discrimination. That's why we see his case treated in a special way divergent from what the law provides for. The text message evidence plus the FBI report about the BOP conduct were never supposed to be ignored. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.